Very good morning to all of you. Thank you so much for joining in today and taking your time out. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to inaugural BW People Dialogues with India's future HR leaders. How do we build future-ready HR leaders is what we're trying to talk in. Mr. Amit Das, Director HR and CHRO Bennett Coleman Co. Limited, will be with us in order to shed some light on this. Can I please request Mr. Das to join us on the screen?
Hi, good morning, all of you. And thanks to the Business World team to invite me as a keynote speaker for this event. At the outset, let me congratulate each one of you, the 40 under 40 young HR professionals, for your recognition and wish you all the best in your journey ahead. So while we celebrate the success of these 40 under 40 HR professionals, I have been asked to speak about building future-ready HR leaders. So if I have to be very candid and put my hand on the heart, let me confess that I don't think there is any blueprint available as of now of how we as individuals or organizations or even at society at large should be transiting into this new normal and track the future success. So while the impact and implications of the current pandemic-related crisis that is still unfolding, what I'm certain is that as HR community, we have an immediate responsibility and opportunity as well to get a much deeper understanding of our most critical asset, which is our people. So if you have to get a sense of both what and how part of the futuristic HR competencies, it's important for us to understand the business landscape first, what we have today, which all of us know is highly dynamic, with VUCA being the new normal for some time now. So we have already seen the emergence of new business model. The business landscape is changing very fast. The life cycle is shrinking rapidly. The business sustainability has become quite difficult. And at the same time, it's become extremely challenging for all global corporations. So the world of business has become more and more interconnected and boundaryless. The customer expectations are changing. It's driven by choice, convenience, and cost. And they want everything to be catered in a very hyper-personalized manner. So in a knowledge-driven networked organizations of today, I think digital disruptions have transformed the way we do business, where technology has been leveraged as a force multiplier to scale up our human intelligence and productivity. So other critical component of this dynamic business ecosystem is a fast-changing mix of employee demographics, where we have multi-generational talent with varying learning and engagement needs. They have different career aspirations and workplace priorities as well. So this needs to be managed by being agile and constantly reinvent and transform our current ways of doing things, which needs instilling that growth mindset in our talent universe, and at the same time, applying the critical thinking to generate solutions for our unpredictable and dynamic business needs. Now, the new normal as a term has been heard and used umpteen number of times by all of us. So to use the term new normal would mean that we have at least a fair idea of what lies in front of us. But in reality, once things settle down, I don't think we can predict what lies ahead of us. So as organizations and society at large, we have accepted that change, that it is inevitable. And hence, this is a time that we need to start working with those changes rather than working against them. So this is the most difficult yet most exciting phase in any change management journey, when we need to have the vision that helps us navigate this paradigm shift that we are making, but also at the same time, we need to have that agility to make these necessary adjustments while we are on the run. The business stakeholders in any organization look up to the HR function to bring significant expertise that help understand the most crucial element in their successful delivery, which is our people. So the competent HR leaders of tomorrow should have a clear line of sight of what business is doing in the marketplace, the changing customer preferences, the technology trends, the regulatory dynamics, and then convert that knowledge into organizational capabilities. And that's the only way we can future-proof the business. Now, HR has to create a talent ecosystem, which in turn can create enormous value for the enterprise. And the HR value creation comes from enabling the employees to develop responsiveness, take ownership and accountability. And we need to also make employees do things differently, question the status quo, demonstrating the winning traits, collaborate with each other, and celebrate the collective success. So the future-ready HR leaders, which is the topic of today for my talk, must build a culture of trust, collaboration, learning agility, empathy, innovation, while embracing the digital savviness. And they must have high degree of tolerance to ambiguity to manage this uncertainty going forward. And they need to have constant connect and engagement with their stakeholders. Also, at the same time, the HR professionals need to constantly play the role of a devil's advocate with their business stakeholders for sharpening their thoughts and actions as well. Now, in today's network and symbiotic business world, the talent itself is being redefined. So today's talent is any capability across the employee continuum, whether it's a direct employee or an indirect workforce, whether it's internal or external, anybody who creates economic value for the enterprise. Now, the people management today and going forward will be less about extracting performance from organized few, but more about curating contribution from limitless many. Now, leaders also need to leverage the technology ecosystem and interconnectedness to drive their distributed and dynamic capability and also create future-ready networked organization. Since the definition of talent is so volatile, the organizations are not sure of what competencies they are looking for future success. So the so-called success profiles, which we used to talk about in HR, are becoming irrelevant, since the competencies which gave success in the past will no longer be valid going forward in the new normal world of business. So this challenge is compelling organizations to develop a shared understanding of the future competencies. So if leaders have to become strong talent scouts, they need to also deploy their gut and instincts along with the established talent management framework to spot certain common traits in the employee universe. It's like finding out their intellectual curiosity, learning agility, their discretionary effort to go beyond their scope of defined job roles, the critical thinking and collaborativeness which drives a growth mindset. So this needs an integrated roadmap for identification and development of high potential HR talent for future. It's like a ship stuck in rough waters. The organizations today are facing turbulent times. It's an opportunity, in my mind, for future HR leaders to play an important dual role of both as a navigator as well as an anchor. So as a navigator, you can guide the organization in overcoming the turbulence by driving the transformation agenda, which will prepare the organization to develop anti-fragility and ensure long-term sustainability. And as an anchor, you must lead the people agenda, which is the core to ensure business as usual in unusual times. This would mean ensuring health, safety, and well-being of the employees, continuing with the employee connect and engagement, build future capabilities, preparing employees for the new ways of working, and most importantly, focusing on the employer brand to continue its attractiveness to attract and retain the right talent. So as HR leaders, you need to take more and more of an outside-in approach. You need to have the right mindset, skill set, and tool set to capture the changes in the marketplace, the changing customer preferences, and deploy a design thinking framework in your mind to develop a deeper understanding of the future success for the business. So we need to keep the business expectation in mind and then zoom inside the organization and redesign the people practices and processes to create an engaged workforce to enable the organization to succeed in the marketplace. I think that HR leaders must demonstrate a business-centric mindset at any given point of time. They have to know the cogs of the business machine. They need to have adequate market intelligence. They have to be collaborative and inclusive in their mindset. At the same time, as I mentioned earlier, they have to be digitally savvy. They should have the ability to lead and work with people, demonstrate passion and authenticity, and at the same time, display high degree of emotional and social intelligence. We know that the economic impact of COVID-19 across the world is estimated to be around 9 trillion US dollars, which is almost 10% of the global GDP. Now, this crisis has crippled the global labor market, with companies compelled to rationalize jobs and hiring being halted in most of the companies. And that has led to a steep rise of unemployed resources. Now, when we try to imagine a post-COVID world of work, we need an incredible amount of foresight and planning about the business and the way we manage workplace post the COVID-19 era, when the world of work will recalibrate itself into a new normal. I foresee a simultaneous transformation, what I keep saying, 3 Ws, the work, workforce, and workplace in the near future. The biggest strength of human beings as a species is our resilience and ability to survive. Hence, we definitely should come out of this current crisis much stronger. But the one thing that we can be sure of is that things will not be the same as we had before. Future leadership competencies will hover around connected leadership, more about cognitive flexibility, digital dexterity, and of course, resilience and empathy. The future-ready HR leaders need to demonstrate agility, business authenticity, and at the same time, they have to embrace that humility. They need to connect the heart and minds of the employees with the organizational purpose. They need to bring in that sense of urgency and at the same time, the responsiveness and create a guided coalition to develop a shared vision for the organization. Most importantly, I think the future HR leaders will have to drive the organization transformation while shaping the conscience of the business. So as HR professionals, when you bring this transformative journey, it's important that each one of you must reflect, understand, own, and at the same time decide your way forward. The future of HR is to be integrated with a business as a value creator and not merely as an enabler function. This translates to ownership and responsiveness of each interaction which you have with your business stakeholders, with equal accountability and decision making like any other business stakeholder. You also need to be the differentiating factor. And the question is, how do we become a differentiating factor? The answer is very simple: by adding value to your work, doing things differently, questioning the status quo, demonstrating winning behavioral traits, and also working in tribes and leveraging each other's strength. So as HR professionals, you have to build your own learnings, strength, and capabilities. You have to be accountable for each interaction, think and analyze every situation differently while keeping a watch on the organization's wallet. Also, I think compassion should be the foundation for each of your interactions. You have to apply the design thinking principle and keep asking questions like, what is the expectation of my customer from me? Do I have the capability to deliver that expectation? And if not, what are my capability gaps and how do I bridge it? So as I mentioned before, the dynamic and fast-changing business ecosystem is throwing up constant challenges to the corporate world. So we are constantly grappling, I think, to have adequate clarity on the right futuristic skill and competencies for future-ready HR professionals. So having said that, I would put my bet on few competencies which are dominating, which will help the business to future-proof itself. And I think it will also help us create an agile organization. Number one is the creativity and innovation. The future HR leaders will need to be creative disruptors. They need to be, embracing an innovative mindset in order to manage the dynamism of the business world. Number two, they need to have that emotional intelligence. This is all about a person's ability to be aware of being in control and express our own emotions. At the same time, being cognizant of the emotions of others around us. So this competency would foster deep understanding of critical elements of the business ecosystem and at the same time drive collaborative success. The third critical competency in my mind is the critical thinking mindset. It's all about how we think and not what we think. The critical thinking mindset leads to innovative solutions and helps at the same time in solving complex problems using rationale and logic. The fourth competency is all about learning agility, which will develop a growth mindset. This would entail intellectual curiosity, constant hunger to learn new things, our ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. This also stimulates a growth mindset to experiment with new ideas and learn from mistakes. At the same time, actively seek new knowledge with a strong bias for continuous learning. So the differentiating factor for future-ready HR professionals will be how well they demonstrate agility, adaptability, critical thinking, and growth mindset to create that anti-fragility, not only in your own organizations, but also to the business ecosystem at large. We know that this business world, which we are saying is that VUCA on a continuous basis, it's showing high degree of complexity and unpredictability. But this is the time for HR professionals to also collectively demonstrate a higher degree of resilience, creativity, agility, and embrace the right technology to reimagine the future business scenarios, help them navigate through this uncharted terrain, and emerge as a winner like we always did in the past. So let me conclude by saying that the disruptive innovation, always hard, but especially if you are not the one who is disrupting. So the future is in your own hands. And remember, as an individual who is adaptable, open-minded, flexible, will eventually emerge as a winner, not just within the organization, but beyond it as well. Thank you very much, and all the best.
Thank you, Mr. Das, for that enlightening session. And I'm absolutely sure that successful leaders are listening to you out there sharing that wisdom. Thank you so very much. We hope to see you soon.